welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about, of course, the legendary, the amazing, it's on my goddamn shirt. I've had two shirts with this album on it. It is Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. So, of course, this is the first album with Bruce Dickinson on it. There's the original bluish cover. And this was recorded in January to February of 1982, and it was released in March 22nd, 1982. And so this was Bruce Dickinson's first foray into Iron Maiden. We had seen him a little bit. I mean, people that saw this tour, not myself, obviously. We saw him do a quick tour as soon as he signed on. They got together just to make sure, okay, yeah, we can work with this guy on stage and all of that. And then they very quickly went to the studio. It was produced by Martin Birch, the headmaster once again. There was a little tiny bit of, I wouldn't call it controversy, but something involving them making a choice of one song making the cut, and then one song being a B-side to the Run to the Hills single. And so that choice was between the songs Total Eclipse and Gangland. For the track listing here, I just have both of them because, you know, they're both good Iron Maiden songs. Fuck it. For this album, because of previous contractual obligations that Bruce Dickinson had, he could not technically write songs for Iron Maiden, but he made a moral contribution to 3 of the songs, according to himself. His previous band, Samson, he was still under contract with them, and so there was some weirdness involving that. But yeah, he couldn't officially write any songs on this album, but he did. And the art, of course, is done by Derek Riggs. It is one of, if Killers is the most iconic, this is probably the second most. It is done by Derek Riggs. It is Eddie, of course, controlling the devil in hell there. And here is a nice little figure of what's going on. And then there's, of course, the pop figure right there, both of which very good friends of mine, obviously. So we'll just take a look at the inside of the disc first. So there's the album art on the disc, and then there is another single art with Eddie and the devil's head there. So let's go through the little booklet before we get to the track-by-track analysis. So here we go. So there's the cover. So we've got the opening notes and, of course, the passage at the beginning of Number of the Beast there. There's Invaders. Let me pull this back a little bit. Steve Harris. Children of the Damned. Dave Murray. There's Brucey. Clive Burr. This would also be the last album that Clive Burr would drum for the band. He was replaced later by Nico McBrain for the Peace of Mind album. There's Adrian. There's the single album art right there for Run to the Hills. It's very cool. It's Eddie and the devil battling. Let's see. Got Total Eclipse and Hallowed Be Thy Name back to back here. And then the thank yous and all that good stuff there. There's the back. So yeah, so for Hallowed Be Thy Name, there was a bit of weirdness there for a while. They had to take it out of their live set a couple years ago because of a lawsuit that was against the band. But that was settled, and they can play the song live now, which is great because it's one of the best heavy metal songs of all time, and it's one of their best songs. So we'll just run through the track listing that I have here as the one that I use. Invaders is the first track, Children of the Damned, The Prisoner, 22 Acacia Avenue, Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills, Gangland, Total Eclipse, and Hallowed Be Thy Name. So at least 2 of those songs, if you know anything at all about heavy metal, you should know what Run of the Hills and Number of the Beast are. If you've played Guitar Hero 3, if you've played Rock Band, those two tracks were on both of those games, and I think back-to-back years. And, you've heard Number of the Beast. You've heard Run to the Hills. They're the two you've heard The Trooper, which is on the next album. But those are the three most well-known Iron Maiden songs that you're going to hear on the radio if they play them and all that. So, yeah, we'll just go through track by track here. So we've got Invaders, which is an okay opening to the album. It is definitely, in my opinion, the weakest song on the album. That would not be Gangland. It's just, if you want something really funny, go back and read the original Rolling Stone review of Number of the Beast, because they had to write a retraction later because it was so horrible that they just panned it completely, and it makes no sense because whoever was listening just, didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. But Invaders, it's about like Vikings, and it's sort of generic-ish sounding, but it's just not my favorite track. It's like, you could pick a better song from the songs that they have of the 9 here to open the album, but it was, it's an album opener. I've never heard them play it live. They don't play it live at all anyway. So we'll go to Children of the Damned next, and it's the second song on the album. It's one of my favorites. It was one of the 3 that Bruce Dickinson contributed to, the other 2 being Run to the Hills and Prisoner. It's a slower tempo song, but you definitely can tell, oh, this is a completely different band now that Bruce Dickinson is in the fold. The lyrics are really dark and sort of not depressing, but the tonal shift from the band from Di'Anno to Dickinson is completely apparent here with the song, and it's a great one. I've never heard them play it live. I wish that they would because it's awesome. But yeah, the next song is "The Prisoner," and this is based on the British television show. You can tell from the introduction of the song, and this is just 1982. New wave of British heavy metal goodness, really. It's you've got the driving pace of the song, you've got the sort of melodic interlude, and then the solos are really fast, and it's just a fantastic song. It's great when they play it live. It's just all around a really, really good song. I think this could have opened the album if it wasn't for Invaders, or if they didn't put Invaders as the opening track. This could have opened it. It would have been a little weird to open with the, clip from the show, but, whatever. The song is amazing. 22 Acacia Avenue is the next song in the Charlotte the Harlot sort of saga, and it's the last one that they would record for a pretty long time, up until No Prayer for the Dying. And so this song, it basically tells the story of Charlotte and the narrator or whoever's singing escaping from her life of prostitution and escaping, basically. And so the song itself is really good. It's really, really just like heavy and powerful. And if there's anything that'll make you want to, stamp your foot or bang your head, it is 22 Acacia Avenue. It's a great, great song. Number 5 is the title track. It's Number of the Beast. You've heard it, a million times, and it just is still just as good every time you hear it. If you want to scare the shit out of people that are like, Christian fundamentalists, play the song. They'll hear 666, the Number of the Beast, and all of that, and they'll go crazy, because people did go crazy when this song was released. The video got banned on MTV. They had to edit out some of the, devils jumping and shit. If you look back on it now, it's ridiculous, but they had to edit out some of the stuff to get it back on the air. And so this song has a reputation, and it gave Iron Maiden a reputation that they didn't really deserve as being, this Satanist band that's, heavier than heavy. And you look at the album cover here, and it's like, oh my God, it's the devil's on the cover, and it's called Number of the Beast. It's so scary. When in reality, Iron Maiden are like pretty close to AC/DC. They're adjacent to AC/DC. They're not They're not, some horrible devil band, and it gave them a bunch of press, which was nice. And it means that outside their concerts, there's always going to be people holding up signs that say, repent, sinners, you fucking losers. I don't know. They don't say that. But Number of the Beast, it's a classic song. You've heard it a million times. They originally wanted to get Vincent Price to do the narration at the beginning, and he was way out of their price range, and so they had to settle with some. I think he was like a radio host or something near them, and he laid down the voice, and it's one of the most iconic things in heavy metal. Is that opening? You hear it in concert, and the whole crowd goes fucking crazy. Uh, Run to the Hills is, I believe, is their. It's not a song that has gone to the number one spot on the charts. That would be, there's another song way the fuck later, but it is, other than the Trooper, it is their most defining, their most popular. If you hear Iron Maiden on the radio, you're going to hear Run to the Hills most likely. The subject matter is about the eradication and massacre and extermination of Native Americans. It starts off at the Native American point of view and then switches to the British colonialist view. And this is also another one that people go apeshit when they play it live. They didn't play it live for a very long time. There was a gap of time in Iron Maiden, even from basically when Bruce left. There was the Blaze Bayley era after that. Spoiler alert. And then he came back, and then they didn't play it live up until I think the Brave New World tour. And so they just didn't play it live because Blaze Bayley's voice didn't match with the song, and so it was a momentous occasion when they brought the song back into the set list, and it's just a great one. I know a lot of Iron Maiden fans are like, oh, why do they keep playing Run to the Hills and the Trooper and Number of the Beast? Well, it's because people that see Iron Maiden for the first time want to see those songs. So if you're like me and you see them 6 times and you want to see all the deep cuts, sure, I'd love to see them play Alexander the Great or whatever, or Children of the Damned. But, there's also people out there that haven't seen them before and want to see these songs. And these songs are still great live. They still make the crowd go apeshit. They make me go apeshit. So that's how it works. I don't know. The next song and the next 2 songs actually are the ones that I was talking about where they were flip-flopping on deciding on, should this be on the album or on the B-side for the Run to the Hills single, and that is Gangland and Total Eclipse. So Gangland, other than Invaders, is the weakest song on the album. It was the one that was originally included on the album when it released. It is just a very generic sounding-ish song. I'm pretty sure they wrote it to try to, get on the radio because it's just like sort of a poppy-ish sounding song. It didn't work out. It wasn't a single. It didn't get any radio airplay. It was just sort of there now. They don't play it live, and when they do talk about it, it's like, we should have put Total Eclipse on the record over Gangland. It should have just gotten cut from the album. That doesn't mean that it's a bad song by any means. A bad song for Number of the Beast is probably one of the best songs for another band, but it just doesn't really do it for me. It's fine to listen to, but Total Eclipse should have made it on the album. Total Eclipse is one of the most underrated Iron Maiden songs there is, and it sort of foretells the end of the world in various ways, and it's very dark and sort of progressive sounding. Iron Maiden would get more progressive later on in their career, but this is sort of the genesis, the beginning of that sort of progressive sound. And I love the song. It's great. I remember hearing it for the first time and having to stop what I was doing and listen and be like, what the fuck is this song? Oh my god. And then finally is it's probably Iron Maiden's best song. It's their best written song. It's not my favorite song, but Citizen Kane is one of the best movies of all time. It's not my favorite movie. Something like that. It's Hallowed Be Thy Name. And Hallowed Be Thy Name combines that progressive element with just blistering heavy metal. And it's a lengthy song. It's let's see, it's here. It's 7 minutes and 10 seconds, and it tells the story of somebody who is about to face their execution and their death. And so it's, what can I say about this song? It's perfection. It's literally perfection. It is God coming down and saying, here is Hallowed Be Thy Name. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. And then come back. I'm waiting. Okay, you're back from listening to it. Go fucking listen to it again, because you need to. The more times you listen to the song, the more you grow to appreciate it. It is so perfect, and I'm glad that they settled with, the asshole who was the assholes, pardon me. I'm glad that they settled with the assholes kids that tried suing Iron Maiden for copyright infringement or plagiarism when Steve Harris and this poet actually had an agreement. Uh, so I'm glad that it got to get added back to the set list because it's not an Iron Maiden show unless you hear Hallowed Be Thy Name, Number of the Beast, or Run to the Hills, or all three. So Hallowed Be Thy Name is just perfection incarnate. It's amazing. Go listen to it again. Uh, yeah, there's not much I can say about it because it is so good, but it's one of the only Iron Maiden songs I can play on guitar too. It's not super easy, but it's not super hard to play either. So that'll do it for the track by track look. So overall, the impact of Number of the Beast is gargantuan. It's huge. Everything you have in Iron Maiden, and I would say heavy metal after this, wouldn't happen without this album. Wouldn't happen without Number of the Beast. This album, there's very few albums that if you asked me, hey, my friend doesn't know anything about heavy metal, they don't even know what the word heavy metal means, what do you give them to show them what heavy metal is? And there's a couple albums that you can do that with. You can do it with Paranoid, you can do it with Screaming for Vengeance or Painkiller by Judas Priest. You can do it with maybe Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath or Holy Diver by Dio. But this one is the one that I would probably give somebody if they asked me, because it personifies and just lives heavy metal through and through. It is what heavy metal is. This is, Black Sabbath might be the genesis, but this is the perfection, the baby, the son of that was created and exists because of that. And so if you want an introduction to heavy metal, if you're just watching this because you're one of my friends and whatever, listen to this album. It's perfect. There's not a lot of albums that you could say are perfect. There's a lot of criteria that you have to go through, and this one might not fit all of them. It doesn't have all of the tracks are not perfect, but this is through and through a perfect album. It is not my favorite Iron Maiden album, though, but it is probably their best and most influential and perfection incarnate right here. So that's all I've got to say about the album. Going forward with Iron Maiden, Clive Burr would leave the band due to substance abuse issues and among other things, and would be replaced by Nico McBrain. That would make Iron Maiden's lineup from Peace of Mind all the way up until the release of Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, or after that, their longest tenured lineup up until now. And so that would be the classic Iron Maiden lineup of Bruce Dickinson, Steve Harris, Nico McBrain, Adrian Smith, and Dave Murray. And so this album is amazing. Every time they play any song off of it live, it blows the fucking roof off, and it gets the crowd going. And that's one of the signs of a good album, in my opinion. I don't know. If you play it live and, everybody freaks the fuck out when you play a song from it, then you did a good job. You did something good. So the impact of Bruce Dickinson on the band cannot be understated. Like I was saying in the previous video, Paul Di'Anno was capping Iron Maiden's sort of market share, whatever you want to say, their ceiling. They would have been one of the best heavy metal bands of the era, but they probably wouldn't have gotten to the success that they've gotten to now with all the merchandising and level of touring that they do. So they needed to make a choice, and they made a choice to bring in Bruce Dickinson, and the band just rocketed from there. They went on a run of albums from Number of the Beast up until Seventh Son of a Seventh Son that are all just perfect. They're perfection. There's nothing wrong with them. There's all perfect albums. And so there's not really much else that I can say other than that. If you haven't listened to Number of the Beast, listen to it. Please, I'm begging you, go fucking listen to Number of the Beast. If you haven't. If you've gotten through 20 minutes of this and you haven't listened to it, what the fuck is wrong with you? But still. So that's gonna be it for this video, for this review of Number of the Beast, as a part of Iron Maiden-A-Thon. For the next one, we're going to go through Peace of Mind. Fuck me. So for my last story, I used to have a black, just normal Number of the Beast t-shirt with Number of the Beast on the back of it. And I went to go to a heavy metal concert with a friend of mine, and they needed a shirt. And so I decided, you know what? It's probably going to make somebody else a lot more happy than me. I have a backup anyway. I really like this shirt. I like the sort of old look to it, and it fits really well. So I decided, hey, I can always get a Number of the Beast shirt again, a black Number of the Beast shirt, that is. And it'll do this person a lot more good, so I gave them one of my Iron Maiden shirts. So yeah, that'll do it for this video. Our review of Number of the Beast as a part of Iron Maiden-A-Thon Video Edition. The next album would be 1983's Peace of Mind, and that, of course, has The Trooper, among other songs on it, and that would be where Nico McBrain would make his debut. But for that one, you're going to have to wait a little bit, or at least until I record it. So, from me and Eddie, all to say goodnight. Thanks for watching.